Hey everyone, welcome to The Gig, a series about film and TV from behind the scenes and on the screen. We're your hosts, Layla T. Rosario
and Jessica Ransom.
And today we're going to talk about how to become an entrepreneur.
And we have international artist Indie184 and Weezy, internet personality, podcast star of the show, Whoreible Decisions.
Indie is the chief artistic officer for Rimmel London, contributes to Nike and PGA's design and workshops, a legend in the graffiti world, a mother, a fashion designer, and a social influencer.
Weezy has over 10 million viewers and downloads, 1.2 million impressions weekly, and has over 60K followers on Instagram. She is also funny as fuck.
Yeah!
My worth isn't a number.
You have how many followers you're in?
Let's just get right into it. Weezy, you know I'm a fan of your show. I have learned so much about sex, about phobias, about kinks, about new sex positions too.
I've learned a lot too. We just interviewed someone that was wearing a diaper.
Oh.
What I've basically learned is to contain my kink shaming and laughter and like really get people come to stuff like this.
Yes. Tell us more about Whoreible Decisions and how did you and Mandy come up with the concept and idea?
It was 3 years ago. Mandy and I reconnected. We were friends from high school. We both worked in corporate. She was working in an accounting firm. I was working in a tech company. And I was like, wow, we're both still kind of slutty, huh? Like no one really like elevated and just became this businesswoman. We are, but like we still suck dick. So we should make a show about it. What was so special about Whoreible Decisions is mainly the podcasts that I knew were about sex were curated by white women and or people that worked in the sex industry. There was no girl that had a 9-to-5 too, maybe an overdraft bank account and like had dealt with those struggles, or you at least didn't hear about them.
Indy, you have been in the game for a while, mother of 3, an entrepreneur. Tell us like your origins, how you got into the business.
It kind of started with graffiti, and it's so crazy because I finally got to meet a graffiti writer through Layla. That right there was everything, because growing up all over New York City, I got, you were exposed to graffiti, but it's like an underground society, so you don't know who or what. With Layla, I was working with, like a film project.
It was a film project, yes.
So that right there was like the beginning of everything. I've always wanted to work for myself, and I always, like way before like even the internet, I would study like home-based business books and things like that. Just working up the design ladder, and then I got a partner who was also an artist, and I learned from there. And then I just kind of branched out and did my own thing.
Do either of you think that influencers have a social responsibility and accountability to their fan base?
I think the social responsibility we all have is like, I'm a person that makes money from my influence, but I also try my best not to be phony. Like I won't work with brands that I don't think are in alignment with my followers. I just had a company that offered me money to get a IUD, which I don't believe in. Mm-hmm. I said no, and then they wrote back with another number, and I was like, ooh, maybe. But when you curate a fan base, you have to make sure that you're also responsible for the things that you'll be putting onto them as well. Right. Because we're all waiting to get to this point to where we can charge for ads and pictures that we take, which is such a simple thing. But it's like, at what cost?
How did you build your fan base?
I've always been a person that's made really silly videos and things like that on Instagram. Once I made Whoreible Decisions and it started to catch on, Weezy became her own brand. People come to my page, listen to me do problematic accents sometimes. They come for pictures of my titties. That. I don't know. Or rants online, or me talking about threesomes. I've been at work hungover and like in the closet talking about it on Instagram. And that's what people have expected. The more that I'm growing a fan base, right, and I get to a certain level, it's like, at what time do I stop? When do I not tweet from the toilet? I have to become like, a little more poised. But that's not Weezy.
Right. Now, have you experienced any sexism or racism in the industry in your line of work?
Sexism for sure. There's something called whorephobia. Everyone's so fearful of being a slut or being around one or something like that. And with a show title like mine, I tell stories about sex and liberation that men are not ready to hear. Also, I've heard comments like, suck dick to get my regular job. And I'm like, that job? It's kind of crazy, I think, how we put women in this box of we can't be sexual humans, right? 3 kids and a mom, you're not allowed to have cleavage out. Like, think about your kids. That's what men push on us, right?
I've been to a show that you invited me to once, years ago.
Okay.
And your name was not on the presentation list.
Really?
You and I walked in together. We looked at the
Oh my
wall.
gosh.
And I'm looking for your name.
Yeah.
All these other famous graffiti artists are listed
Yeah, it's
there.
always
And I was like, fuck this place. I was like, I don't want to be here supporting this. Like, most of your work was why people came. And I remember you and I were walking around and people were coming up to you, Indie, can I get a picture with you? Indie, can I have, like, I love your artwork. And your name was not on the wall. Like, fire that person. It makes me sad to know that these are things that are overlooked because, as you said, you're a hot Latina. You're from the Heights originally. You're Dominican. You were born in Puerto Rico. You have all these things. And sometimes brands will use that as a way to leverage their brand. It's almost like you have to check the brand too. You have to cast them as well.
I have an agent that I work with that tries to book me for comedy stuff. She said it and didn't even realize it. You're like, yellow. She said this word.
Oh my God.
Yellow but brown in your hair. It's a thing. And I was looking at her like, does she fucking hear herself?
Oh my God.
But at the same time, this is how they talk when we're not there. I've heard white people say this all the time as far as like how to market me.
Yeah.
They're like, everyone will like you. I know what that means. They're light enough for white people, dark enough for black people, and Spanish people will think you're one of them.
Right.
So what are you guys currently working on?
I'm working on some painting commissions. I just did a beauty vending machine. It'll be like chill, and then all of a sudden, boom, something lands on my desk thanks to the universe.
So I'm on tour for Whoreible Decisions, so that's great. We have 15 more cities to go. I really love touring. People have been listening to me for an hour a week for a year. So when someone sees me, they act like they really know me. One of my new projects that I'm working on by myself, I am excited about. I've been shopping it around. One network particularly is looking at it. My project called I'm Ducked Up. It's a drunk storytelling project. But it came from me doing Instagram Live all the time drunk. And people are like always waiting for me to get fucked up and go online. I'm like, well, let me just profit off of it. If I'm gonna ruin my liver, it better be for money.
What's the day-to-day in Indie's world? What's the day-to-day in Weezy's world?
I wake up at 5:30. I also I'm a mom of 3 dogs and 5 cats. So my day starts early, checking emails.
And 3 kids?
Yeah.
So is that 11?
Yeah. Oh, and a husband. That's all. I just go to the studio and then just do the computer stuff and studio stuff. And then, I just work my day around the kids.
Entrepreneurship is hilarious because first week, I didn't do anything but masturbate. Because
my God.
You're home and you're alone and you're like, well, I don't have anything else to do. And you're barely wearing clothes. Like, I'm in the bed naked. So I'm just like, I might as well jerk it and order Seamless again.
Weezy, I've been to one of your live shows. Every time I've gone, I just love seeing you in your element, you and Mandy, because both of you fucking know how to orchestrate energy, and when you walk on stage, everyone is screaming. Do you have a memorable Whoreible Decisions moment on stage?
So we do Kinks of the Week, right, every week, where we basically take this word and we'll teach you about what it means. It was in traction to breast milk. And there was a girl in the front who was like, oh, I just had a baby, and like my boyfriend would like love it. And I was like, really? Fuck it, what's it taste like? I got off to the side of the stage and tasted this girl's breast milk, not even thinking about transferred disease. The only thing that I really did not realize would happen is how warm it was.
Oh, yes.
I didn't realize body temperature, and then I'm like, that's why we heat bottles up.
Yeah.
My first show, which you were at, my mom was there, and my co-host mom was there. This guy asks both of our mothers, when a guy comes, what do you like to do with it? Where do you put it? And my mother, who's wearing pearls, a black dress, and these little Mary Jane shoes, goes, well, maybe I would, and she looks at me, I don't know. It's been a long time. And then Mandy's mom goes, I have 3 orifices, and I'll use them all. And I was like,
I remember that vividly.
What's crazy about that live show is just thinking back, it was at a workspace, right? And now, like, we just sold out Howard Theater. It was top to bottom, and you watch your growth, and that I think is the coolest part of also being an entrepreneur too. You're like, oh yeah, remember when we were poor?
Well, thank you. That's it. That's our time. We want to thank you both for being here on the gig and sharing your stories and your origins. And see you next time.
See you next time.